Hello fellow vegans, hello judges, hello friends. My name is Brendan Weaver and welcome to my entry in the 2020 Festive Vegan and Plant Powered Show. Guys, today I've created for you the most amazing, ultimate, forage vegan Eggplant Schnitzel Bretzelburger. Okay, it's served with caperberry bush done 3 ways. There's also a little bit of sweet potato fries in there. It's going to be absolutely wonderful, absolutely delicious. I think this dish looks amazing. I think you'll look amazing making it. The ingredients are affordable, they're healthy, and most importantly, at the end of it, guys, you're gonna feel amazing after eating it. You're gonna feel absolutely incredible. So we're gonna begin by picking some caperberry leaves. I have 1, 2, 3 leaves that I'll pick for you. Another name for these is anasturgeons. Okay. Next from the garden, we'll be picking some borage flowers. I have 1, 2, and 3 beautiful blue borage flowers. Next up, we'll be picking some rockets. Lastly in the garden, we'll be picking the anasturgeon flowers. We have 2 beautiful red anasturgeon flowers here that we'll be picking. These are the flowers of the caperberry bush. We have the caperberry leaf over here. We have the fresh rocket and the borage flowers. Come on inside where we'll go and prepare it. Okay, so let's start cooking. I'll begin by peeling the purple sweet potato to make our purple sweet potato fries. So now that I've peeled the sweet potato, we're just going to chop it up into French fries. Okay, now I'm just going to coat the sweet potato fries in a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and then I'm going to bop them into a preheated oven for 20 minutes. So the oven has been set at 180 degrees, top and bottom setting, and we're going to pop the sweet potato fries in there for about 20 minutes. Now bear in mind, we're also going to be putting our firecracker chickpea topping inside at the same time to save on electricity and energy usage. Right, so next up, we're just going to make the firecracker chickpea topping for our Bretzelburger. And it's really simple. All you need is 1 can of chickpeas, and what you do is you just open that can, and remember, you need to keep the juice from this because we're going to use that later in our schnitzel and in our vegan mayonnaise. So all I've done is decant 1 can of chickpeas. I'm keeping the juice. Now I'm going to use these chickpeas and I'm going to coat them in a little bit of olive oil and some masala spice. The masala spice is there to add a local flair to this dish. It's a traditionally used spice here in Cape Town. So now that we've prepared our firecracker chickpea topping, we're going to pop it in the oven next to our purple sweet potato fries. And just a quick reminder to be keeping that liquid from the chickpea can. This is known as aquafaba in plant-based lifestyle cooking. And it's an excellent emulsifier, and we're actually going to be using it to coat our eggplant schnitzels later. So we're going to be using it in 2 places in this dish, and we've used the chickpeas. So it's amazing how we've utilized the entire can here, and that's super important in sustainable cooking and in sustainable plant-based cooking. So now we'll be making the vegan caper mayonnaise. This is the first time you're seeing the use of the caper berry in the dishes that we'll be making today. And all you need to do is basically take 4 caper berries, add that to half a cup of your aquafaba liquid, which is the reserve liquid from the can of chickpeas that you just had. Then you add a teaspoon of rice wine vinegar and a teaspoon of yellow mustard. Then what you'll do is take an immersion blender and slowly blend this mix whilst adding 1 cup of any neutral oil of your choosing. I'm using sunflower oil today, and now you'll see how I can make this vegan caper mayonnaise just right here in this kitchen, very quick and easy. It's a great substitute for mayonnaise, and it's a really affordable option for mayonnaise. So now we're going to be making the caper berry leaf and hemp seed slaw that's going to top our Bretzelburger. This very basic coleslaw adds much needed brightness to the dish. It has a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of acid, and I really find it brings the whole dish together. Another interesting component is that we've added the hemp seed. And the amazing thing about that is that it's packed with protein. And as a vegan, as someone on a plant-based diet, I always struggle to get in that required amount of protein. And using hemp seed here is a little hack that we can do to get in that extra amount. What you will need is half a cup of coleslaw mix, which is really easy, to get. It already is chopped up for you, which is super nice. And I'm just going to add half a cup of that to a bowl with some hemp seed, some rice wine vinegar, a little bit of sugar and salt. And I'm just going to massage all of that together to really help break down that cabbage and to help it absorb that dressing that we're making for it in the bowl. Just a reminder that the last ingredient I'll be adding is the chopped up caper berry leaf. This is the second time we're using the caper berry bush product. The first time, of course, being the caper berry itself in the vegan caper mayonnaise that we did earlier, and now this time the actual leaf. I find the leaf adds a real pepperness to the dish and makes people think, well, what is that? And it adds a real nice element of uniqueness. Right, so now I'll be preparing and making the eggplant schnitzel. And so all you really have to do is chop the eggplant schnitzel into discs and then place it on a tray and coat with salt. And what the salt does is draw out the moisture inside the eggplant, which is obviously going to help us for when we want to fry it later on. And it's going to remove some of the bitterness that's inside the eggplant naturally. Right, so once your eggplant is chopped up and placed on the tray with salt on it, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes until that moisture is drawn out, and then we will pat it down to remove it. Right, so whilst the moisture and bitterness is drawn out of our eggplant, I will prepare the tempura flour that will be accompanying our Bretzelburger. The flour we'll be using is the Anasturgeon / caperberry bush, flour that is the final component of how we'll be using the caperberry bush 3 ways in this dish. This is the flour I picked earlier in the garden. Just a quick reminder that bugs can get on the inside, so always remember to check to make sure there aren't any. And when you place it, and when you pick it rather from the garden, place it in a bowl of water like this to essentially remove those bugs. So now I'll dust the caperberry bush flowers, and then I will create the tempura batter that we will then coat those flowers in to get ready for that final deep fry. And just a reminder that in that tempura batter I'm actually adding a little bit of that masala, just to remind you to keep it local and to keep it lekker. So as you might be able to tell here, I've actually added a little bit too much sparkling water to the tempura mixture, but that's not a problem. All I can do is just add a little bit of flour, and that will help to get you that desired consistency. Okay, so now I'm just going to place the flowers inside the tempura mixture, and then I have over in front of me a saucepan with some sunflower oil that's heated up to just about the hottest you can get it. If you don't think the temperature is hot enough, just put a little bit of batter in there, and if it starts to sizzle up, then you know you're at the desired temperature. So here I go, I'm going to be submerging the flour in the tempura mixture. One goes in, and here I am with the second one. You're going to let those fry for about sort of 1 minute to 1 minute 30. It goes really, really quick. You just want to get them nice golden brown and delicious. Give them a little flip around there. Look at that beautiful golden brown and delicious texture. So inviting, and so savory. Right, so we're almost at the end of our ultimate vegan forage Eggplant Schnitzel Bretzelburger. The last component we need to make is the actual eggplant schnitzel. And now you recall earlier, I've chopped those eggplants, I've added some salt, and I've set them aside to draw out that moisture and some of that bitterness. In front of me now, I have those exact same eggplants, and they're literally loaded with water, okay? There's a lot of water coming out of these. And what I'm going to do now is just dab them with a paper towel to try and absorb some of that excess moisture, some of that excess bitterness. And then shortly after that, I'll begin dredging these eggplants. And the dredging stage is to turn these eggplants just from a vegetable into an eggplant schnitzel, so that it's some sort of meat substitute for our burger. So now a little tip for when you dredge, you want to have one dry hand and one wet hand. Okay, so that's so that you just don't get sort of your hands really messy. And what it translates into is, in front of me, I have some flour and some aquafaba liquid and some of sort of schnitzel breadcrumbs, which you can make just from chopping up some leftover old bread. So I'm going to use this hand as my dry hand, I'm going to use this hand as my wet hand. So this hand only touches the wet stuff, okay? So I'm going to be using this hand, I'm going to coat this one brinjal in some of the flour over here, going to get a nice coating of the flour. And then I'm going to get a nice coating with my wet hand, right? I'm switching over now to the wet hand in the aquafaba liquid. Okay, this is just the canned chickpea liquid. Once again, we're using the leftover liquid that we had from our canned chickpeas. And then I'm switching back to my dry hand as I put it in the breadcrumbs for their final coating. And you can see the aquafaba acts as a great egg substitute in this recipe and can be used as an egg substitute in all of your plant-based recipes that you'll be making. So there I have my first one done, and I go back with that exact same dry hand to coat the second one in the flour. Just a reminder to season your flour. No one wants to have unflavorful eggplant schnitzel, so a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, really goes a long way at each step of the phase. And as I say, remember, using one hand wet, one hand dry. One hand wet, one hand dry. It just helps for cleanup at the end, and it helps to ensure that, you're not going to get any soggy schnitzel out there, because no one's a fan of soggy schnitzel, I'll tell you that. So I'm going once again with the dry hand over here, and into the aquafaba, and into our breadcrumbs. And then on the side of me now, I just have a pan with a little bit of sunflower oil that's heating up over medium to medium high heat. And essentially I'm just going to place these bad boys inside there and fry them off until they're golden brown and delicious. Okay, so I will now be frying off my eggplant schnitzels. And I have 3 eggplant schnitzels here. So I have some oil heating up over medium-high heat, as I said earlier. You're going to place the eggplant schnitzels away from you into the hot oil. And remember, when making schnitzels of any variety, be it plant-based or not, always continuously stir and move the pan to ensure that you get an even distribution of that high heat, and to ensure that you have even browning throughout the schnitzel. These can go for 5 minutes to 6 minutes, or until you're happy with the desired, or until you're happy with how it looks on the outside, until it smells good. Use your senses, use your eyes, get close to the food, listen to how it sounds, smell how it smells, and make a decision for yourself. Now we're just going to remove the eggplant schnitzels from the pan, and as soon as they come out, you're going to want to hit them with just a quick sprinkle of salt to really adhere to that oil coating, and also place them on a paper towel to absorb any extra oil that may be present during frying. Okay everybody, this is it. The final step, the plating step. I have all of my individual components in front of me, and I'm going to bring them together to show you how to plate the ultimate Forage vegan eggplant Schnitzel Bretzelburger. So here we're going to start with the vegan caper mayonnaise. Place our pretzel bun on that beautiful caper mayonnaise, and this is a homemade pretzel bun. Place one of your beautiful brinjals. Place another one on top for doubling down. Then take some of your hemp seed and caper leaf slaw. Top that with 1 to 2 borage flowers, as well as some microgreens and sprouts. And then on the side, don't forget about your purple sweet potato fries that you made earlier. Also your tempura and nasturtium flowers. And last but not least, also some of your firecracker chickpea topping to add a little bit of extra texture and crunch. So that was the ultimate vegan Forage eggplant Schnitzel Bretzelburger.